I could not be more thrilled to have him join. I'm honored, to be honest with you, that it's this juncture of his season, he says yes to appearing on this program. Plus, it's not only been such a long time since I talked to him, I was excited to tell him some story I've never told him about my own aunt and uncle. And he's joining us right here on the Rich Eisen Show, Mike Tomlin. Good to see you, Coach. How are you? How are you?
Always an honor to be on with you, Rich. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, I really do appreciate that. And so let me just jump into what is going through your mind as you're getting ready for this Houston Texans team, your 12th postseason as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's going on in your head right now?
It's at the strategy stage of the week for me. And so I'm just really working hard to put our guys in position to be successful. We hadn't had a lot of cross video with these guys. And so I'm a little bit less familiar with these guys specifically than I am a lot of people that you play this late in the year. It's just one of those years where they haven't been in a lot of our cross video, but I'm sure they have the same perspective. And so it's equal footing from that perspective.
So you're, staying up late watching film? That's where you are, pretty much? Who's sitting?
Yeah, I've been up a long time today. This is probably the first time I've ever talked to anyone.
Okay.
I've been in dark rooms.
Do you need a minute? I mean, I could give you. So you sit by yourself and watch the film? That's your prep to start a week?
I do. I like to work independently before I work as a collective. I don't like anyone else shaping my opinion or my perception.
All right. So then, who are you willing to share with me that jumped off the screen in a Texans uniform? Who made you write the most notes in your notebook, Coach?
I tell you, that edge rush tandem and that cornerback tandem are both special. You see why they're number one in the league in defense. When you got guys that can rush the passer like those two, Hunter's got 15, Will Anderson's got 12. Collectively, they got 27. Then you got two corners, man, that are very aggressive, play close bump and run coverage. I think both got 4 more interceptions. And Stingley and Lassiter, there's no secret why they're kicking a lot of butt. If you're rushing and covering, you're going to play good defense.
And so you at least have a guy on your own side. You got some guys on your own side who can obviously rush the passer and take the ball away. But also when facing two guys who are coming at you, as you mentioned, in Hunter, who, as you know, has a chip on his shoulder. I don't know if you're aware, he didn't get a Pro Bowl nod. And then you've got Stingley, Lassiter, who I believe you're referring to, on Houston on the back end. You got a neck-up guy, and you got a guy who's been through now his 12th postseason in Aaron Rodgers as well. When do you sit down with him and go and pick his brain about game planning and things like that?
We'll get an exclusive hour tomorrow morning. We start every week with the quarterbacks and myself and at 7 a.m., and we'll lay a good foundation for the week, talk about personnel of Houston Texans. We'll also talk about schematic strategy, what they do in large volume, et cetera. And it's an opportunity for us to exchange perspectives. Aaron spends a lot of time watching tape on his off days, and by the time we get to that point, he certainly has an opinion, and I'm always interested in hearing it.
I'm sure, exactly. And so this workflow, you and he, when did you create it? When did this start with you and Aaron Rodgers? This
specifically, we've been doing it all year. We got unique positions, he and I, head coach and quarterback. It's important that we, have an understanding that we spend quality time together, that we communicate about, a wide variety of topics, but especially things that are relevant to the here and now. And so we start every Wednesday and every Thursday morning before team meetings with some exclusive time in an effort to make sure that we're getting the train out of the station on the same page. And so it's been really good time for us. You don't wait till you need it until you do it. You do it on a regularly scheduled basis. It's just good. It's just good football discussion. It aids in the growth and development of a young guy like Will Howard, who sits in on those things, but we don't allow him to say anything, but we do let him sit in.
Well, yeah.
And this week we're playing on Monday night, so we just moved it back 24 hours. We'll meet tomorrow morning and Friday morning to kind of get things started.
Well, what's it like for you to be in your position, headset on, game like Sunday night, and somebody like Rodgers at the controls, where there's really it'll take something to fool him, and it'll take something to I guess a helmet not working would throw him off or throw anybody off. But what's it like from your perspective, Coach, after all this time of you standing on a sideline, having somebody with his knowledge and operational controls, Coach?
I don't think there's any lack of intensity or urgency, but at the same time, there certainly is a comfort and an ease knowing that you got a been there, done that guy at the controls. There's value in it that's immeasurable, not only in terms of his performance, but just the collective performance. He's got a way about him that's cool. He calms the waters. And certainly we got some young, significant contributors in his huddle, and the informal things that he does are just as critical as the formal things.
And you got a good story, just before I move on from Rodgers, you got a good story of the first time this year where you're like, okay, he's got it. I'm not concerned, or not that you were, but you got a good story where you're like, this is it. We got this thing, Coach?
I don't know. I make some assumptions sometimes just because I got so many other things to focus on. I knew exactly what I was getting. I haven't been blown away by his command of moments, his desire to conquer moments, his ability to do so. I just seen him too much for too long, and that's who he is. And so, I think it's probably quite the opposite. If he doesn't rise up in those moments or smile in the face of adversity at those times, I'd probably be surprised. And he certainly hadn't done that.
Who came up with the idea of you, Rodgers, and Cam Hayward walking off the field together this year?
Hey, it's funny. Cam and I have been doing it for years. We just have. We get a road victory. He and I generally have responsibilities and so forth. And we made eye contact a number of years ago. It might be 8-10 years ago now. And we've been walking off the field together like that for that long. Nobody cared or paid attention until Aaron got involved. And so, we invited him into our little group, and it's gotten a heck of a lot more attention, obviously, since he's gotten involved. But Cam and I personally have been doing it for years.
Well, maybe part of that is obviously Rodgers is who he is, but he's also the quarterback. And the Steelers are in a lot of standalone broadcast games, and the quarterback speaks to a sideline reporter afterwards. And, it's very rare to see a coach and somebody who I think is a Hall of Fame defender standing waiting for the quarterback to be done so you could all walk off together. That could be it too,
It probably goes back to our days, to be honest with you, when that rivalry was really heated versus the Cincinnati Bengals and Vontaze Burfict and Pac-Man Jones and stuff. I think Cam wanted to walk out with me, man, because people be throwing stuff at us when we exit the tunnel. If you really want to hear the real story, some of these road game venues, man, have been hostile environments, and that's why we started walking out together. And so we figured we better do the same with Eight, because I imagine he faces a little hostility as well.
Mike Tomlin here on the Rich Eisen Show. A few minutes with the Steelers head coach before he goes off to see more about the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football right here on the ESPN family of networks. So how do you work DK Metcalf back in after the 2-game suspension? And was he going out of his mind watching these games? Coach?
Hey, Rich, how working back in is immediately. He's a guy that's, ready to go, certainly. He was able to work out and so forth in the midst of the 2-game. And so I don't expect it to be any rust or any issues relative to him getting back on the moving train. Certainly, we're excited about having him back, but certainly there's growth in not having him. Just us having to strategize and grow from that perspective, individual players getting an opportunity to rise up and expand their roles and make plays. And so, hopefully we benefit from having him back, but also just some of the challenges of having to function without him as well.
What about growth from his point of view of not being available based on what happened in Detroit, Coach?
Man, he's sick about it. I'm tired of hearing him apologize about it. It's behind us now. it's time for us to move on and get singularly focused on what lies ahead. Certainly, there's a growth opportunity there as a man, but all indications are that it has happened, and he's open and non-resistant to that. And so my focus is the football that's ahead of us.
And how's TJ Watt feeling right now?
I think he feels great. I'm sure there's some, soreness. It's certainly been a number of weeks since he's played in a football game, but just from a general health perspective and so forth, I think he certainly was glad to be back out there. I know we were glad to have him back out there, and he didn't take long to make his presence felt, man. We needed that short field, that turnover that he provided.
A few minutes left with Mike Tomlin here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the news involving John Harbaugh, Coach. Obviously a guy that you took on multiple times, including this past Sunday night, and is almost as tenured as you are in your job as he was, past tense now in his. What's your opinion upon hearing that news?
First, I just have so much respect for Harbs. Our stories will forever be, interwoven. This rivalry that we've been fortunate and honored enough to be a part of. I just got so much respect for him and how he's gone about his business. And we've certainly had some legendary battles over the years. In terms of him being let go, unfortunately, I just think it's a component of today's sport culture. And so, there have been many examples of that. And so it's unfortunate, but I'm sure that he is going to move on. And if he chooses to coach again, I'm sure he will. And I'm sure he'll be very successful at doing so. But more than anything, I just think it's, a larger example of today's sport culture in terms of, not a lot of patience in the entertainment component of what it is that we do. There's just not a lot of longevity. I'm sure we all would like to be Don Shula and Tom Landry, but I think those days are gone.
Well, I mean, you are the avatar of that these days now more than ever. Certainly since a guy was 1 year behind you in terms of tenure. Now it's, I believe, Andy Reid who's closest to you, and that was in Kansas City, and he had to leave the state of Pennsylvania himself. So
I'm miles away from Tom Landry and Don Shula.
Well, I know that, but I mean, if anybody could, if you will, run them down, it would be you in your current position. I had Bill Cowher on the show yesterday, your predecessor, almost 2 decades ago, which is kind of wild to say. And he was going through in detail what his conversations with the Rooney family would be after a season and how they don't really stick their 2 cents in during a playing season. And so I'm wondering if you think about those things, about your longevity as you go into this game on Monday night at all.
I don't. First of all, I'm certainly really appreciative of the work environment that I've been in for 19 years and the stability and the steadiness of our ownership. But man, I'm tunnel visioned. As a leader, man, I'm called upon to serve these guys, and NFL playing careers are very short. And so I certainly can't seek comfort in the longevity of my career. I work with guys who have very short careers, and I tend to try to always have and mirror that urgency. I think it's disrespectful not to have that level of urgency when I lead them. And so, man, I don't very rarely do I delve into big picture perspectives or appreciate the longevity component of what I've been able to do. There's just so many things that are waiting for me today, this week, that demand my attention.
Do you have an outside noise person in your world that informs you of stuff?
I don't. People that are closest to me know I really don't care. And so they've learned over the years. But every now and then, just the number of texts I get in my phone of people checking on me gives me an indication
Is that right?
of the level of outside noise. When I get texts from people that are just checking in and checking on me, that lets me know that the outside noise is pretty loud.
Well, I mean, the outside noise hit inside the building weeks ago. You go on a win streak as well, and now here you are hosting a playoff game with with the fans around you now, and that was a large conversation. So when I'm reading about some stories about you thinking about TV or thinking about other things than just coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers, that comes from outside, not from your 2 cents and thinking about it.
Hey, Rich, I don't participate in any of that, man. I can't allow myself to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even really privy to the specifics of what you're talking about. I just realize it's a component of what I do and what we do. And you better learn to live with it, or at least endure it. You know, there's more U.S. senators than NFL head coaches, and I have a respect and appreciation for that, and an understanding of maybe some of the things that come with that.
All right. So last things for you is you still seem to love it. You love it? You really love doing this? I know you're laughing, but honestly, it's a grind. I mean, you have more gray in your beard than the first time I interviewed you. That's for sure. You know.
Hey, I'm institutionalized, man. I gotta have it. You know, I just love the challenges week in and week out that this job provides. The growth in it, the collective growth, the individual growth.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of lessons I've learned in life, man, has kind of been through my football experiences. I've been on a team every year of my life, man, since 1980. And so I really appreciate it.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for taking the time. And I guess my excitement of you saying yes to this interview, I guess it can be summed up like this way. And then, did I do it right?
Hey, absolutely.
Did I do that right?
That's a tip of the cap to one of my favorite MMA competitors, man, Derek Lewis.
Okay.
That's his celebration.
Well, there it was right there. Very good. Yeah, he's been on this program before, so I didn't put two and two together.
I got so much respect for that human and how he goes about his business.
Okay, I just want to make sure I did it right. Thanks for the time, Coach. Really appreciate it. Good luck Monday. I'll be watching, and then I'll be chatting with you down the line. Thanks again.
Appreciate you, buddy. All the best.
Right back at you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers right here on the Rich Eisen Show. I guess I'm the first human he spoke to all day, is what he just said. I'm honored.
And they're on East Coast time.
Right.
Well, I'm glad we get an idea of, like, how does he operate? What does he do?
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.